All right. I've been called out a couple times now for the frequently asked beer questions that was started by Tasting Nitch sometime last week. So finally camming up and gonna try to answer these the best I can. But I did grab this beautiful guy right here, and that's Zombie Dust, bottled on 4/5. It's 4/12 right now. This thing is tons of Citra. Anyways, so I'm gonna try to answer these questions, and I really don't know who to call out because I think everybody's been taken. But we'll see what we can do. All right, question 1. What was your first beer? I don't remember. I remember when I was a kid, there was a can sitting on the table. I took a sip of it and I hated it. That was my first memory. I don't know what age I was. I was just little. Because I kind of had to reach up towards the table, so I wasn't that old, I guess. Must have thought it was a soda or something. Anyways, my early days, which I can't talk about, it was whatever cheap crap beer we could get. Keystone Ice, Milwaukee's Best Ice, I believe, Busch Light, Blatt's bottles. Had to be ice cold though. The nice thing with those is you could buy a case for like $10 and you got $1 back when you return the bottles, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, my first earliest memories, it's all crap beer. It's whatever was cheap. You know, you didn't have a lot of money when you're 20-ish. So yeah, so that's, I don't know what my first beer is, just probably a lot of crap. But how did I get into beer geeking? Well, I didn't really officially get into beer geeking till like a couple years ago, which led into the homebrewing. But I've kind of always had a taste for craft beer. In my early 20s, I hung out with a couple guys that were really into Newcastle, and we'd go to the east side and order pitchers of Newcastle. That was one of the big ones. And then Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. I remember getting a lot of that. I do remember having some pick a six, or everybody bring a 6-pack, and then we get a bunch of food and taste beers. But I specifically remember Sierra Nevada and Newcastle. So I've always kind of had a taste for beer. I didn't really develop a palate till later on. I may not have a palate yet, but I've always been interested in beer and breweries and stuff like that, just the concept of them. Before I even got into brewing, we had a rehearsal dinner at a brewery, and that was really cool. And then we had I think 6 different beers on tap, and it was just really cool. And looking back, it was so badass that it was at a brewery before I actually found that niche of interest. So yeah, so the brewing kind of built up, and I was at a wedding, and they had it was at kind of a German Bavarian beer house type place, and they had Franziskaner on tap, and that was my first time really trying a Hefeweizen, or it was whoa, what is all this flavor in here, and I kind of fell in love with Franziskaner, and you couldn't find it too many places. So I mean, I kind of searched that beer out, and it was just the little bit of banana, bubblegummy, clovey of a Hefeweizen. It's wow, this has flavor, and it's refreshing, and I can drink them, and they're good. And So I kind of fell in love with that. And then when we got married, we had some money left over from Bed Bath Beyond, and there was a Mr. Beer kit on the clearance table. And I'm like, it's like, I don't know, $5 or $10. I'm like, hey, I can make my own beer, you know. So I bought that, and then it sat in our closet for like 2 years. And we were at a local store, and they had refill kits. I'm like, hey, that's the kit I bought. So then I bought 3 refill kits. The first one I brewed was the Hefeweizen, and it tasted more like a Bud Light or something like that. It wasn't great. And then the next one, I brewed Oktoberfest. It was okay. And then I went to the local homebrew store, and it all went down from there. Basically, the whole reason I started homebrewing was because I wanted to have Franz's Conner on tap at my house at all times. But then I was looking at the price of what a keg was, and then it took a special tap, Sankey type tap. And I'm like, well, shit, I can brew it for way cheaper than a keg would cost me. So I got into kegging pretty quick. Started with Brewer's Best Summer Ale. That was my first kit. And just brewed a shit ton of Hefeweizens. And then I kind of got sick of them. And then I used to hated hops. And then by brewing, and you smell that hops every time you dump them in the boil, all of a sudden it's like, hey, that really smells good. And that's where the appreciation to hops came in, because it's like, okay, I understand that taste now because I've been smelling them in my beers. You know, this is citrusy and great, you know. And then the aromas that you get off the boil, you can appreciate them in a beer. So that's kind of the point where I started beer geeking. I wasn't really, even when I started brewing, I was very limited. And I would say up until maybe a year or two into my brewing, because I started brewing, I think, in 2010. And that's what really took off, because then I started going to breweries like Leinenkugels. And I'm like, oh, this is so great. And then I had their Imperial IPA, and it was like, holy cow, this is really good. And just started expanding. And now it's like my palate's kind of moved even beyond that. And I'm looking for, that's not my first pick anymore. But so it's just been developing over time, it's kind of baby crawling all the way up to my appreciation of where it is now. I don't, hopefully not ramble too long. Oh, what is my favorite beer? I love Franz's Conner. To this date, that's still one of my favorite beers. If I'm just going out and having a beer with dinner and they have Franz's Conner or a Hefeweizen on tap, that's still one of my go-tos. Just still love it. I know it's simple, but it's just good. If you could only have one beer, what would it be? Franz's Conner's would be a choice, but I thought about this one a little bit. And there's 2 beers that, like, if I had my island beer and there's one beer, it would have to, Moon Man from New Glarus is definitely one of them. But also the Cranbic from New Glarus is, I don't know, I just absolutely love that. It's just good. I stocked up and bought a case this year just so that I have stock until they release the next batch in 2 years. So I would say I'm a little addicted to that beer. How can you drink so much and stay healthy? I'm not healthy. I'm overweight. And it's not all because of beer. It's choices in eating and lack of exercise and all that other great stuff. But going into the next question, are you an alcoholic? In my early 20s, absolutely. Sit down and drink an 18-pack a night of Genuine Draft Light or a handle of Captain and Cokes. Yeah, you're probably considered right there. Nowadays, if I come home and on a weeknight and I'll have a beer like this, or I'll have a bourbon barrel stout, or just something. I really don't drink during the week, and I got a bunch of beer mail, so I have to do some reviews. I'll pop them out during the week here and there, but I really don't drink during the week. And then on the weekend, I might have a couple here or there, and it all depends, So if I'm in the mood or whatever's going on, So I probably give away or share more beer than I actually drink of my own. So no, alcoholism is an addiction, and I'm not addicted to beer. I enjoy it. I'm more addicted to brewing than I am the beer, believe it or not. But I do love and enjoy the craftsmanship and the flavors and the recipes and what people do to create the flavors. But no, I'm addicted to brewing, but I can go without beer for a couple days for sure. What's my favorite ingredient? I like playing with ingredients, as in flavors. You have a base beer, a stout, brown ale, cream ale, whatever. And you can pretty much kind of get those anywhere, right? So part of the reason why I homebrew is it gives me the option or the opportunity to play outside of the normal realms of just your normal BJCP or your style guidelines. So for me, I really like ingredients. So I like, playing with coffee and chocolate are probably two of my favorites. Vanilla beans, stuff like that. I like adding fruit. I like adding spices, herbs, stuff like that to beers. Because if I want just a plain Jane cream ale, I can go out and get a plain Jane cream ale. If I want to get a, coconut cream pie cream ale, there's not too many places you can go and find that. So you got to make it. That's what I love about home brewing. And going into the next question, do you brew? Yes. I do brew. I love it. I'm addicted to brewing. I love it. It's the same thing with cooking or the cheese making now. It's crafting something that you can hand over and say, here, try this. I made that. So that's the cool thing. I love it because you can share. Some people woodwork. Some people work on cars. Some people have a green thumb and try growing stuff. I don't. I make beer. Who in the beer world do you look up to? Well, there's a lot of obvious people. Obviously, we've probably all read a lot of books from a lot of great guys. But my direct influences, some big ones are, I guess the biggest one that's kind of influenced me has been Paul Wicksteed. Back when I was just kind of starting the whole all grain process, I was going to build a big propane system. Started on that path, and then I ran into Paul Wicksteed's video on his electric control panel, and that was 4 years ago already, or no, it's over 4 years ago now, which inspired me to go electric. My first electric brewery fire up was just over 4 years ago, and it was a pleasure talking to that guy. He had a light about him, and just how can you not enjoy listening and talking and watching him? He had a way of explaining things. He had a way of drawing you into his videos, and I think some other people mentioned him too in their videos, but he was a big influence on why I went electric and kind of through my whole process. I guess on that theme too, Tony Yates. We were kind of building, he was a little bit ahead of me, but we were building our electric panels right around the same time. And kind of working with him and seeing what he was doing, and I spent a lot of time bugging him about questions and whatnot. Those of you guys that know me or whatever, I have a lot of questions and I ask a lot of questions, and um, sorry, but Tony Yates, he was a great influence on my electric brewing as well, and he was a good guy, good friend, and we had some good chats along the way too. So Tony Yates is definitely another influence to where I am today. Um, the one guy that kind of taught me how to all grain brew. He hasn't been on much in a long time, but Hokey Homebrew, his all grain video pretty much I watched probably about 2 dozen times before I actually brewed my first batch of all grain. So Hokey is another one that was definitely an influence on me in my early brewing days. So as far as people I looked up to, there's a whole community. I mean, there's the group of guys, you guys know who you are, that I chat with every single day, and they're what they're doing inspires me to do better and think better. You got Under the Table, you got Lou, Josh Secor, you got Wally, you got Mike Dean, you got Brick and Mortar, you got Josh Hoover, you got Carlisle, you got this huge, this group of guys that you kind of keep in contact with, and it's very, very inspiring. Andrew Cooper recently, I mean, all the sours and saison type stuff. I mean, that's really sparked my interest, in listening to what he's doing. Really gets me fired up to take my game to the next level and try something different. And the beauty is everybody's so willing to help you out and give you tips and stuff on what they've done. So sorry this has been a long video, and sorry I've been rambling, and sorry if I missed anybody. This group of guys, the community's great, and if I missed anybody, I apologize. But I appreciate, Carlisle and Josh Hoover gave me a shout for in their inspiration, people of inspiration, and that's honestly flattering and very humbling, and I appreciate the call out, because that's why we kind of do these videos. You hope you make a difference and help somebody out, or inspire somebody, and you put these videos out. You don't know if you ever make a difference in anybody's life, and you kind of hope you do, but you never know. So it makes creating these videos and posting these videos worthwhile. So with that, I'm done rambling. It's been almost 20 minutes, and I apologize, and if you stuck around, thank you. But as far as call-outs, I don't know who's left. If you have not gone yet, please chime in. I've been checking out people's stories and listening to them, and it's pretty cool seeing kind of where we've all been and where we're at and stuff. So with that, all I just want to say is cheers to the Tasting Nitch. Love watching your videos. She's awesome. If you haven't subscribed to her, I'll put a link down below. She's her weekly beer news is sometimes freaking hilarious. But thank you, Tasting Nitch, for starting this, and thanks to Josh and I think Carlisle are the two. No, Josh and Chris from Brick and Mortar. Yeah, sorry, you guys are the ones that called me out. So cheers, thank you guys, and on to the next FABQ. Later.